Hello, Algebra Scholars. This is part 2 of polynomial division. This is dividing by a binomial. And this is a process that's going to take all of us several practice problems to learn and become comfortable with. And what we're really doing here is long division. And let me remind you of the algorithm you used for long division back when you were in the 4th or the 5th grade. You started out by asking a question. I'm going to put a little note here to cover the constant of the divisor. I'll show you what that means in a minute. So step 1 is ask a question. Step 2 is to write the answer to the question. And I'll write another note here. We need to line up our terms. That will become clear later as well. Then we're going to multiply. No note necessary here. After we multiply, we're going to subtract. And I want to make sure that you use parentheses, a subtraction sign, and a bar, a subtraction bar. And step 5 is we're going to bring down everything that's left over. And finally, step 6, repeat as necessary. Alright, so here is what an example of that might look like. We might do the following problem. X cubed minus 2x squared plus 3x minus 4 divided by x plus 2. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is we're going to ask a question. And in the parentheses here, I wrote cover the constant of the divisor. Well, the constant of the divisor is right here, the plus 2. So we're going to pretend for a second like that plus 2 doesn't even exist. We can't erase it, so we're going to leave it there, but pretend it doesn't exist. So the question we're going to ask is, how many times does x go into x cubed? Or better yet, what times x is x cubed? What do we need to multiply by x to get x cubed? That's the question. And then the answer to that question is x squared. If we multiply x times x squared, we get x cubed. And it says write the answer. Okay, so we're going to write the answer and we're going to line up the terms. Since the answer is x squared, we're going to write it above the other x squareds. Okay, now let's get rid of all this stuff here. So we asked a question, we wrote our answer. We're now going to go to step 3 that says multiply. We're going to multiply x squared by this whole binomial. So x squared times x is x cubed, and x squared times 2 is 2x squared. Now we're going to subtract, step 4. We're going to write our parentheses. We're going to put our subtraction sign, and we're going to draw a line. And when we subtract, we have to be super careful. We're going to subtract straight down. X cubed minus x cubed, these terms simply cancel out. But these terms do not. Because of this minus sign, we're not going to change anything, but we know if we were to distribute this through, this would really become a minus. And minus 2x squared minus 2x squared is minus 4x squared. Step 5 says bring down. And in elementary school, you probably just brought down the next term. We're going to bring down everything. And then step 6 is repeat as necessary. So we go back up to step 1, where we ask our question. And remember, it says cover the constant of the divisor when you ask the question. So this plus 2, we're going to pretend like it isn't there. And the question we're going to ask is, what times x gives me negative 4x squared? And we're going to write our answer and line up the terms. What times x gives me negative 4x squared? And the answer is negative 4x. So I write that there, lining up my terms. And now I'm going to do step 3, which says to multiply, and I'm going to multiply negative 4x by the whole divisor. So negative 4x times x squared is negative 4x squared, and negative 4x times 2 is negative 8x. For step 4, to subtract, I need parentheses, subtraction sign, and a bar. And remember, this negative sign here gets distributed through, so this is really a plus here. It looks like a minus, but it's a plus. So we're really adding here, and we're going to get 11x. We'll bring down the minus 4. Once again, repeat as necessary. We'll go back up. What times x gives me 11x? Hopefully by now you can see the answer is 11. We wrote our answer, and now step 3 is multiply. We're multiplying 11 times the whole divisor, 11x plus 22, parentheses, subtraction sign, subtraction bar. Be careful, remember, this is no longer a plus sign when the negative gets distributed, so our remainder is negative 26. So what we would say then is the quotient to this problem is x squared minus 4x plus 11, and the remainder is negative 26. All right, Algebra Scholars, here's a second example. You'll notice I wrote our steps down, our 6 steps here in the upper right corner. I've already got a problem written down, and in the bottom right down here, I'm going to write down our questions and our answers, and we'll leave them in case that's helpful to you. So our first question, remember, when we ask the question, we cover up this constant term here, no matter what it is. So the first question is, what times x is 2x to the third? And the answer is 2x squared. That gets written here. And that 2x squared gets multiplied by the divisor. So that's 2x cubed minus 4x squared. Be careful subtracting. Remember, this is not negative 7. This is positive 1x squared. We bring down the rest. Second question, what times x is x squared? And the answer to that, what times x is x squared, the answer is just x. So that gets written here. And then that x gets multiplied by the divisor. X squared minus 2x. And once again, when we subtract, we do not get negative 7x. We get negative 3x. We bring down our minus 1. And then our third question, what times x is negative 3x? And the answer is negative 3. So we multiply and we subtract. The answer is not 5, but negative 7. So the quotient, the answer to the division problem, is 2x squared plus x minus 3, and the remainder is negative 7. All right, Algebra Scholars, here's the third and I think final example that I'll do, and feel free to fast forward back and forward through these 3 examples as many times as you need when you're doing the homework, so you have these sort of talking notes in front of you. This last example is just a tiny bit trickier because you'll notice the dividend, the top of the problem, does not have an x squared in it, and we have to handle that carefully. When we're doing long division, we need a placeholder for every different variable, even ones that are missing. So because there are no x squareds, we need a placeholder of plus 0x squared. And if there was more than one missing term, we would need more than one placeholder. Okay, so our first question, what times x is x cubed? And the answer is x squared. Remember to line up your variables. That's the other reason we need a placeholder. We'd have no place to put that answer if we didn't have a 0x squared. Now we're multiplying. X squared times x minus 3 is x cubed minus 3x squared. Always be careful subtracting, and the answer is, that's right, positive 3x squared. Bring down the minus 5x and the plus 5. Start over again. Second question, what times x is 3x squared? And the answer, 3x, which we will write down up here, lining up our variables. Multiply 3x by the divisor. So we have 3x squared minus 9x. And subtract, being careful to subtract always, knowing, so this is negative 5 plus 9. So 4x plus 5. We brought down, so we have one more question, question number 3. What times x is 4x? And the answer is 4. It's a little sloppy, so here, let's fix that. Plus 4. And now we multiply our answer by the divisor. So 4x minus 12. And when we subtract, we get positive 17. So we'd say the quotient to this problem is x squared plus 3x plus 4. And the remainder is 17. Good luck with long division, everyone. You're going to do great.